Major Bitcoin and crypto altcoin warning right now. Most people are going to mess this up. The absolute carnage that is about to be unleashed in the markets. Is it going to be on the bulls? Is it going to be on the bears? We're dumping into this here just momentarily. I'm getting this retweeted out on the Kelly Kellum page and the at Academy BitLab page. This is live on YouTube. This is live on X. Shout out to everybody there. We got Randi Hipper, Miss Teen Crypto, coming on here in just a little bit, but we got some things to break down. Bitcoin pumpage, altcoin pumpage. Is it really going to happen, or is this just another fool's errand for another trap in the charts? Let's get into it. Let's talk about what the hell is going on. Let's go. Drop a 1 in chat if you are ready. Drop a 2 in chat if you're here from Randy's redirect here. If you're here to come see the great Miss Hipper, big love to every single one of you. Get this retweeted. Let's go. What is up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Markets are starting to get some signs that we might see some absolute carnage be deployed in the charts for the bears. But is it just going to be a relief rally into a trap? What are we looking at? Reminder. Everything is very, very fragile right now in terms of the bulls, in terms of the bears. We got to make sure we're looking a little bit further out, because I'm seeing people in the live chat before we went live wondering, is this finally going to freaking pump, or is this just another fool's errand in the markets? Because when we're diving in and looking at what's going on, what do we see? We are seeing a bull trend, Bitcoin bull trend. This is all we're seeing. Nothing's changed other than the fact that we're starting to see some substantiation that maybe we're going to get, at least at minimum, a little bit of a relief rally. We have some bullish divergence here, also right on this trend line that was established back here in October 2023. And we also have the almost triple trend line here with the horizontal top here, the horizontal top from the previous cycle back here, October 2021, giving us this essentially this region we're looking for price action, and also this rising level of support that was established back here at the end of 2022. This is where we're getting that trend line from, projected out, very similar to Crypto Face's spider lines, a very similar sort of trend line coming up here, and looking all 4 of these zones that we're looking at right into here. What for? Well, again, this previous range top, the range top back in the last cycle top, and then, of course, this descending trend line, which also ends up being the lower bound of where we're getting this line for the bullish divergence. So what gives? What is going on in the market? First off, getting back to you, welcome to the family. Welcome to the show. My name's Kelly Kellum. We're here, BitLab Academy, breaking down as non-biased as possible. I am human, so I'll have my own bias, but as non-biased as possible. What does the data say? How do we make sure that we don't get trapped by the price excitement or the price fear? That's what this is about, because we are in the most important time in history in Bitcoin and the crypto market, in that we have a crypto-friendly administration that is clearing the path forward for those that are here, strapped in, hanging on, stacking in, maybe already purchased, but you're not doing anything because you don't want to get chopped out. All that is better than taking the moves in the market that are just triggered by your hopes and your fears. We got to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what our plan is to make sure that we can do it. And that's what this is about. So coming over to what we're looking at right now, we're going to run through a few things before Randi pops in here. And we're sitting here, look at this, $2.6 trillion. The other day, we were right about 2.4. I think we dropped just below it. But we're seeing a kind of on the 7-day charts, a little bit of the double bottom, a little bit of a double bottom, a little bit of a double bottom across the board. Of course, thank God, USDC looking relatively flat. That's what we want to see. We're seeing, we're starting to see a little bit of potential reversals. But what did we get today? We're getting all of this information about the trade war going on, but we also have to remember we have the questions about the FOMC. What are they going to do with rate cuts? What's going on with bonds? Who gives a shit, right? We want to know, is Bitcoin going to pump? Is Ondo going to dump because it's getting listed on Binance? Are we going to see altcoins finally have a cycle? I've got some incredible charts lined up for you today, and I can't wait to have Miss Randi Hipper pop on here in a little bit. We're going to talk about the markets. We're going to talk about what's going on. So let's look at it. What we see today. This is important, whether or not you think it's sexy or not. The core PPI, all these acronyms lately, right? FOMC, the CPI, The PPI, well, what does this mean? Producers Price Index. In some ways, this is more important than what we're seeing on the CPI because this is a leading indicator. If the producer's price is going up, then it's going to roll over into the consumer price. So we see inflation is ticking down. We see a dramatic drop on oil. Oil, whether or not you think it's important, oil is shipping. Shipping is basically that, what do you call it? Logistics cost to get your goods shipped to you. We're seeing the cost of energy drop, and we're also seeing producers' price index drop. Look at this, down 0.1% month over month. The PPE, the broader PPE rather than core, is down 0.4%. We're seeing great things setting up. Now, when we dive in further, we're also seeing the dollar take a bit of a nosedive. This is great risk assets pump setup. Not only that, what do we see? We see Bitcoin bull div playing out. What is that? Well, we see the bullish divergence on the RSI, higher lows, meaning the strength, how weak the market is, how strong the market is with the underlying pressures of what's happening in the order books and what's happening with the buying and selling pressure in relationship to the price. Well, this did not get as weak here, and the price dropped a lot further, aka the strength is getting stronger. So we're starting to see an indication, and we did get a bit of a bounce. When we zoom in on it, we got a little bit of a bounce here. We see this back up above this trend line that we've been fighting to stay above in this range. We've tested down to the previous range high. We're seeing some, not all, we're seeing some of the ingredients that we would expect if we were wanting this to make that next leg to the upside. Of course, Bitcoin does not stand alone outside of the global markets. Bitcoin stands in line with what's happening on the global stage of risk on, risk off, but it's also in this very unique position, it being such a new asset compared to gold and compared to other stocks, global equities, commodities, so on and so forth, the global markets. It's a new kid on the street. So in some ways, it still trades like a little bit like a tech stock. In other ways, people are realizing this is going to be the flight to safety, like Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is talking about, which is also the reason Michael Saylor from Strategy, why he's buying so aggressively. So when we're seeing this, we can take advantage of the weak hands when it does have these sell-offs and say, oh, I see the overwhelmingly bullish landscape that is carved out and painting such a bright future for Bitcoin. And this is like, oh, yeehaw, I get to get these lower prices, baby. That's what we need to realize for what is going on right here. Shout out to Jesse Gulak. Says Givers Gain. Shout out to the Givers Gain crew that's in the house. Crypto Billy and all the fam. And also, Randi Hipper is one of those givers gainers and givers as well. She is I'm excited to have her on the show. But this is all wonderful. But let's run through some of these things that are important. Yes, we're seeing Bitcoin bull div playing out. The dollar is breaking down, which is typically very more regularly than not a great indication of Bitcoin likely to perform very well. When we look at the dollar versus Bitcoin, let's go ahead and look at this. I'm going to have to click 6 times. There we go. There we go. This is the decline in the dollar, the blue line trickling down right here. The weakness of the dollar. What do we see in Bitcoin's price? Parabolic uptrend. Now, it's not directly given because look at all this chop here, but the price is ticking up. We had a little bit of a sell-off here, but for the most part, this real parabolic uptrend in Bitcoin started when we really got that reversal in the dollar. Similarly, right here, look at this, reversal in the dollar. What do we see? Parabolic uptrend. We're getting a pretty steep sell-off of the dollar here, and we haven't yet really see that priced into the market. Beyond that, there's other things as well. Accumulation addresses stacked 48,000 Bitcoin. Why is this important? Do you understand? Some people still don't get it. Bitcoin is on a public ledger. Every transaction that has ever happened in the history since its first block, every transaction is essentially on the blockchain that every miner on network has to agree on. Because of that, we have these on-chain data analysis. On-chain data analysis, with a 10-minute delay, roughly every block, you can see on every Bitcoin address as well. You might not know who it is, but you can see this wallet has had Bitcoin and it hasn't moved for 7 years. That's an accumulation address. So if more Bitcoin gets added to that, you have a high probability that is those stacking hands, those strong hands. If somebody has a wallet that's brand new, then it tends to be more paper hands, the higher likelihood of. And also, if you have a wallet that has Bitcoin transacting in and out, that's either a trader or just maybe retail weak hand. So through the transparency of the blockchain, you can utilize on-chain data analysis to see, is smart money buying, is dumb money buying, what is going on? So I can follow. I want to follow the footsteps of Michael Jordan, not the a 4'3" kid that just is a shit talker at the park down the street that says he's the best. No, you're not. Michael Jordan's the best. And with on-chain data and Bitcoin, you can follow the Michael Jordans out there. And that's why this is so important. In addition to that, what else we got? World governments, corporations, and smart money aggressively moving towards Bitcoin standard. We are on the cusp of greatness. In fact, we are in the middle of the event horizon, and you are here, and I'm proud of you, and I'm grateful to have you here in the family. But what else we got? We got so much more. The narratives that Bitcoin could pump in poor macro environments. Well, there's a lot. I mean, all of these indications, almost regardless of what happens moving forward, Bitcoin is set up for overwhelming success. Shout out to Army Piper. We should get him on the show here again soon as well. Big love to that whole crew. They got such a great crew of people. But then what else we got? Only been one other Bitcoin setup, anything like this. Liquidity conditions. Here's the Bitcoin price. We're looking at where the halving is. And we also see what is going on with liquidity conditions. This looks very similar in the setup before we got that parabolic, just explosive rally in 2016 into 2017 from $200 to just under $20,000. Now, what was the low here? $15,000, $15,500. Now, where will we go? Will we go to 120? Is that going to be the top? 175, 250, 600,000? Well, all answers to the upside will be fulfilled, but it's the question is timing. This cycle, well, the question now is, are we talking this cycle? Is it only going to top this year? Are we going to have these intermediary peaks all the way just nonstop now that we have governments, institutions, corporations, Bitcoin ETFs? I mean, the flood is just beginning, baby. So when we look at this, looking into the future, let me zoom out on this. Are we going to see just the continuation? Let me move this really quick. Are we going to see the continuation rather than just sell off and then into a bear market, something ridiculous like this? Or are we going to see, these sort of moves and then, travel sideways for some months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe a little sell off that told you it was going to go into a bear market, only to be a perfect buying opportunity to continue up and up, essentially like what we see on the stock market. There's no telling. We need to be patient. We need to be adaptable and make sure no matter what we're doing on a short-term basis for trading, that we have a strategy to get funds into our long-term accounts so we don't mess up our future because we're being greedy. But the conditions are setting up very similar to what we saw just before this parabolic uptrend that resulted in, massive gains. And the bullish outlook, the bullish landscape, the path forward right now is so overwhelmingly bullish. In the near term, I do not care what price does, but we break it down here on a daily basis. If it does drop, gives me a better opportunity to buy. What else do we see? Ondo from J Chains here. He actually was in the studio 2 days ago. I got to hang out with him a bit. I've always liked J Chains a lot. So, he's big on Ondo, just like we are here. Joshua, Jake, DZ, myself, Drew from Blockchain Basement, TJ. And it's not just us. Ondo's working with Wisdom Tree and MasterCard and McKinsey and BlackRock. The list of what they're doing to tokenize world markets, so you can have global access to stocks and funds and like commodities and equities, tokenized on chain. And they just, they passed the vote because they did a voting thing on Binance to essentially they're going to be listed on Binance. Now that's important to note because we have seen, it kind of depends on where we're at in the market. We have seen situations where something gets listed on Binance and then you have a sell-off. So it doesn't mean sell now because they're about to get listed. In my opinion, because of the bullishness of, and also the sort of substantiated quality of Ondo, I don't know if it's going to get a sell off or not. I know that I'm going to be prepared with some capital that I've mined in the real world. We have this money that we all still transact in wherever you live. Well, I'm doing my best to make money so that I can take advantage, have dry powder to take advantage in the event that that happens. Ondo for me, it's my largest holding right now of altcoins. Now, if this drops, but this is overwhelmingly bullish for the long term, especially with the number of people that will immediately gain access that maybe haven't had access. Maybe people in Asian markets, people that didn't want to sign up for Coinbase or trade on a DEX. But this immediately puts, millions of people on notice about Ondo. And it's not only that, it's a great headline. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. We're going to look at some charts on that here in a little bit. What else we got? Remember the bullishness, M2 money kind of double bottoming here. Here is the M2 money in black, double bottom. This is kind of followed down. Is this going to start following its way back to the upside? I don't know, but indications in the directionality, the correlation of the liquidity available and the Bitcoin price is such that I do think this is kind of where we're going. Especially consider, will the markets pump? Well, we're seeing global money push to the upside. Bitcoin tends to follow in a very correlated manner to how much liquidity is available in markets. In addition to that, we're having this incredible trade war right now. I'm not saying incredible good, incredible bad. It's just there's a shake-up globally about what is going on in markets, which also how that may pertain to economies. And we're at that point right now where we're going to see an inflection point where China's going to have to print, the US is going to have to print, and whether it's stealth QE or actual just active printing. But we are on the cusp of when we're about to fuel up these markets with so much liquidity. And I know I'm in the best liquidity capture mechanism that's ever existed, and that is Bitcoin. And then I like to gamble a little bit as well as a venture capitalist. That's what you are if you're trading altcoins. You're betting on these projects, these protocols to get integrated into broader institution and government systems on a broad basis. This is the new technological revolution, and you are a part of it. And liquidity is about to go through the roof. What capture mechanisms do you have? I'm curious what your top 4 coins are in your portfolio. If it's only Bitcoin, bravo to you. You are safer than me. If it's only altcoins, what are your top 4 holdings? You don't need to say the amounts, but I'm curious what everybody is holding. Drop a live comment there. Again, remember, we are live on YouTube and on X, so shout out to everybody there. Now, this is looking good. This is looking good. Nice indication of a potential magnet to the upside. It doesn't mean we can't have a washout to the downside first. So just be a little bit patient. Take your opportunities when they come. It's hardest to buy in the reddest, but those tend to be the best opportunities. The problem is identifying when you're starting to see signs of that swing back to the upside. I think we're starting to see some softening of the uncertainty so that we can start making some calls. But then we also see former PayPal CEO David Marcus says every app should integrate Bitcoin. A global tech leader saying every app should integrate Bitcoin. The signals are there for you, guys and gals. And oh, golly, what else we got? Russian central bank's chief says Bitcoin and crypto are becoming a shield against sanctions. In fact, we talked about the other day, China and Russia are starting to do some trade, settling energy agreements in Bitcoin. I think this is going to become more and more pervasive, not just with them, but more and more pervasive globally. Because remember, this is agnostic to any world government. This is like the people's coin that is kind of Switzerland between everything. It doesn't pick a fight because it's supportive and open access for anybody. And it's not subject to sanctions. It's not subject to, what's my monetary system to put pressure on your, no, this is, I do think we're going to start seeing this more and more. And then we see all the shakeouts we just had. And I shared this the other day, but I just wanted to re-highlight this. Bitcoin illustrated in the VIX, right? So like Bitcoin to US dollar, this is Bitcoin to the VIX. And what do we see with this? We see when shit gets hairy, when it gets, oh my God, scary. We have a perfect trend line here of, oh my God, it's scary, best time to buy. Oh my God, it's scary, volatility in stock markets, volatility index. Look at that, perfect time to buy. What did we just see twice? This was the Asia crash that we had at the beginning of August, the yin carry trade. What did we see? Incredible time to buy. What we see just now, incredible time to buy. So my question to you is, are you here to take pictures of numbers on a screen, be excited, and then it drop, and then you go, well, I'm not excited now. We should be more excited when the markets have reversals to the downside, when we have the data available and people like Randi Hipper, people like myself, Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, Frankie Candles, Crypto Face, there's Tom Crown, there's so many people out there. And none of us have the answer, but we all have different data sets we're looking at that can help illustrate, is now a good time. If I was so bullish then why the hell would we not be taking advantage when we're seeing charts like this at the max volatility? Also, especially with this landscape we're seeing moving forward, max opportunity for buys. So with that, I talk too much, way too much, and sometimes I want to be a listener. I've been told the best thing you can do as a man is listen, and that's why we got our girl, Miss Randi Hipper, in the house. How you doing, darling?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kelly. I appreciate you so much. And I think that's pretty good advice. Like a man should listen, happy wife, happy life type thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. I was so happy. I've been wanting to get you on for a while. I was in your live stream earlier. I was like, hey, why don't you come on the show? So how are you feeling about all this? First off, you're down in Florida now, and you
Yes,
guys
I am.
got the that Bitcoin reserve. Joshua Jake was down there testifying before that subcommittee yesterday. Uh, what do you make of all this, man? Like, everybody's so worried, and I'm only more and more bullish by the day. Am I out of my mind? Am I just a boltard, or are you seeing similar things about what we're seeing moving forward?
I am a mega bull, Kelly, and I absolutely love Bitcoin. And number go up, number go down. It doesn't take away from the revolution that we are a part of being your own banking, having censorship-resistant transactions, and a hedge against the world economic madness that we have going on right now. So, despite everything, I'm happy to be in Florida as well. I believe this is the state of the free, and I'm very blessed to be able to have moved down here recently, and I'm enjoying the warm weather. I gotta say, Kelly, it's a lot better than cold New York. So
Hey, well, I mean, I lived there for what, 16 years or something, and I did enjoy it. And the first snow was always great. And then you realize it sucks because then you just have a sloppy mess for 4 months. And I agree. I'm here in Atlanta now. We actually did get a light bit of dusting of snow this year, but I agree. I kind of like the change in seasons and all this sort of stuff. Um, so I got to ask you the hard questions, Randi. You've been in the
uh-oh.
market for a long time. Are we going to get an alt season?
Man, I think eventually we will. And I believe that the meme coins maybe took away from the major alt season and took liquidity and put it in the wrong direction, man. I think there were a lot of distractions and people that came in during the last bull market towards the end that didn't feel like they made their gains. They thought that that was their moment. And I think it also comes down to the impatience of a lot of people. And I related to the Gen Z mindset that like we're scrolling through TikTok, we can't make it more than 3 seconds into a video before we're like on to the next. I feel like it was the same with the meme coins where someone investing in a meme coin and it didn't go 10x in the matter of 5 minutes of investing in it. Let's go to the next, and then you lose your money. Oh, but let's try again. And for a lack of better words, it reminds me of Vegas a little bit because
Oh,
people they're like, oh, I'm at the table, I didn't get this one, let me go test my luck at the slot machine, then I'm gonna go test my luck at the next game. And it just really never works out. So you have to have a bullish and a bearish case scenario, and that's about it.
I completely agree with that. Somebody shared something with me that I thought was interesting. And I think this is just the dynamic changing and evolution of this space as people come in. We did have memes last cycle, but it was
We
predominantly
did.
on ETH. Now people would complain about the gas fees, but now you look at what's going on in Solana, and because there's essentially, I don't want to say there's no gas fees, but they're so minimal, it's basically non-consequential or inconsequential, I should say. It almost makes it seem like those gas fees actually created a nice barrier to make people be more not concerned, but selective about when they were going to buy and sell. So it wasn't just in out bots, all this kind of stuff. So it almost highlights the need in some respects why in some cases these things are good barriers, and in other cases we want immediate transaction scalability like we see on Solana and a number of other coins. But I think it just speaks to the growing pains of the space. And, it's just been wild looking this cycle. Randy, it's been wild because even me, I fell victim to it. We had two full round trips in the altcoins, not even meme coins that I could fall victim to. Just the altcoin market had two full round trips into March last year, sell off, and then there's another sub one towards the end of this last year. And you look at altcoins versus Bitcoin, and everybody was like so excited about the faster growth in altcoins, and everybody's sitting there going, "I've been in a bear market for 4 years now, man. What the fuck?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And at the end of the day, it kind of brings me back to what I said on Around the Blockchain. And like that was ages ago. That like the 4 year cycle to me never really existed. And I think it's too early. How many 4 year cycles did we? It's not like we had 10 4 year cycles to give us a basis of knowledge. Like, yes, this is how it's going to go. Like, that was almost foolish to me to go and rely on something like that. I think people always need to find a way to relate something to some sort of method, right? I think, for a lack of better words, a method. And so even with this cycle, we saw Bitcoin hit a halving before. We had a little meme season, like even Pepe, and then it was like these meme coins on Solana. None of it makes sense, and everyone's trying to justify, oh, it's just a cycle, man. The cycle's over. The cycle's reversed. Like, what if there never was a cycle? And so I really feel like people, like, it's almost like a, what's that phrase, like the bliss of ignorance or something like that, like ignorance is bliss. And I feel like people really just try to hang on to something that doesn't exist. And maybe that's just a hot take of mine, but that's just really how I feel.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. Everybody, it's interesting that, Bitcoin and crypto progressively, the newer a coin is, there's not like a huge amount of historical trends, right? With Bitcoin
No.
in 2017, it was like looking at everything in 2013. In 2021, it's everything, looking at 2 cycles previous. And now it's like we kind of compare, it's more like 2017. Maybe it's a little bit. And I think in a way, it's all irrelevant because we're seeing the same breaking of historical trends on the global markets now, because the mass shakeup of the lingering effects from COVID, the issues with supply chain issues, the issues with inflation, and now a completely cataclysmic change in terms of a new administration and doing things that just haven't been done. So we saw a $7 trillion swing in the S&P 500 in 30 minutes the other day. That's like that's more than a meme coin swing that you could ever imagine. $7 trillion, 4 trillion up, 3 trillion back down. And everybody's going, there's no models for this. Like, what the fuck? It's like, so, but then you look at the halving cycles, and I agree with you. I think the halving cycles will have more of a psychological effect going forward. But I wonder if Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he, she, or they were, I think they were just more brilliant. I think they looked at the global sort of liquidity trends, and it happened to also line up with the election cycle trends, and it also happens to line up with the business cycle trends. So I think they all have, this shape of liquidity that influences markets, and that's more impactful than what we're seeing. It's the halving cycle, because it's not even 4 years. It's 210,000 blocks. It's what, 3
Yep.
years and like 9 months or something. So I don't know.
I think Satoshi, and I say it all the time, has the smallest ego of mankind, because who thought of this masterpiece of money, that probably one of the closest things to perfect sound money that we'll ever have, and just put it out there, told everyone about it, say, hey man, like, just have fun with it, and disappears. I think that's the smallest ego ever, and so well thought out. But at the same time, like, Bitcoin has its imperfections, and that's why we have things like Litecoin. And even Charlie Lee, I believe, is one of the biggest geniuses of our generation, just because of how he put out Litecoin, kind of putting out a warning: this is when it's going out, guys. Having something that's 4x the supply, smaller block times. I think that it takes a genius. And so I believe we have a few geniuses of our generation. Everyone says it's just only Elon Musk, but I believe Charlie Lee is one of those people as well. And we could also go to Charles Hoskinson and all these other people, but it really all comes down to Satoshi. And so Satoshi was an a brilliant, brilliant person that I would love to have an honor to speak to at one point if we ever find out who he is. But I really don't believe we will. And that's just a beautiful thing on its own, because at least we have something that just exists without someone being the face of it. And I think that's one of the biggest blessings of Bitcoin, is not having a face to it. So it could just
I agree
exist. And
entirely.
people
And
can do
it
what they
blows
want.
me away. It blows me away that I am older than Charles Hoskinson. I'm like, isn't this guy like 57? No, he's like 36 or 37. You know, I just turned 41 in March, and I can't believe I'm
Oh,
41. I
happy
feel like I'm
birthday.
800 in my spirit and my body's 85, but I feel like I'm 22 at heart, you know?
You're right there with me, Kelly. Don't even worry. But yeah, I really feel that time, especially in crypto, flies by, and it's like kind of like 1 year in crypto is like it's like dog years, like 7 years and versus R1. Time really flies in crypto, and if you really look at the revolution that we have sparked and the amount of impact we've made in the 16 years that Bitcoin has existed at this point, I would say it's rather impressive that we have nation states, governments, cities, companies that are FOMOing into an asset that at this point still over 90% of the world does not own. So being part of this revolution is so special because we're really at the front lines, and we're like that small group of people right now that are talking about this thing that we need to bring to the rest of the world. It's also something that, as small of a community as we have right now, it's a safe haven for so many that in countries where there's triple digit inflation, they run to something like Bitcoin to store their value. Other countries where, they really don't have a means of getting banked, they could use this as payment because they have an internet connection. And even sometimes you don't need an internet connection to use Bitcoin. So just being a tool for safety, prosperity, and saving a lot of economies is a beautiful thing. Now, if you take all this impact that Bitcoin has and multiply it by like 10x, when we have maybe, let's say, 5% of the world into Bitcoin, 50%, what is that going to look like? We can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're just the innovators, like we're the educators. We're just trying to like bring this off the ground floor at this point. It's just a beautiful thing when you really zoom out on the world, the change it has already, and what it will do in the future.
So I got to ask you, I mean, nobody has the answer. I don't care if it's Joe Calasari, British Hodl, Altcoin Daily Brothers. You talk to like true market people that are like Dave Weisberger. I'm talking to all these folks on a day, on nearly daily basis, hosting a bunch of the spaces on Mario Nafal, and all these interactions that we're having, even about the trade wars. Nobody has an answer. Everybody, it's trying to figure out what's going on. And again, all the historical trends are broken because it's like you got the yields up, you got Bitcoin still kind of sitting flat, but the dollar's falling, which typically means Bitcoin. It's like, but then we're wondering, what is Salt Bay gonna do? What is Salt Bay gonna do? Is Pow Pow about to give us that QE? Are we about to get what we need, baby? Or do you think that he's gonna have a bit more of a pressure sort of ego battle? Is it an ego battle with the Trump administration because you can't tell me what to do? Or is he about to drop some salt on the markets? What do you think is going to happen here between now and the end of the summer? Are we going to start getting rate cuts in May? Do you think it's going to be later, or is it just let's let the market decide and we'll navigate as it comes?
Or we'll just end the Fed. I'm just kidding. I really
Hey,
believe that it doesn't matter what happens with the Fed. And again, that's another hot take because like this man just does whatever he wants. It's not even a real darn federal entity here. And so I think the dollar is just going to end up wasting away no matter what happens. And even if we have rate cuts and let's say like inflation's so low in this term of like 4 years, what's going to happen after that? Like, can we trust that the dollar is going to survive just if we have a few good years? Or are we going to like look ahead and say, hey, we need to fix this now? And the early Bitcoin adopters, we been knew this, right? Because We didn't have to wait until 2020 to 2021 and see 40 to 50% of our money supply be printed to say, hey, you know what? Like, maybe we need to fix this money problem. No, we've been known this since 2008, 2009 when Bitcoin launched. So we need to enlighten people on how to look into the future and prepare for that now rather than wait. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
I
crazy. I
agree.
don't, I don't know, Kelly. Maybe I'm nuts. Maybe
Oh,
I'm
no, I agree.
nuts.
I mean, I still think we're on the path towards the Bitcoin standard and the blockchain standard. I think it's going to be a combination.
Yeah.
I don't think the dollar is going to go away. I think the dollar is going to transition from the current system it's in to being very heavily uh, tokenized, and they're going to say it's
Yeah.
not CBDCs. That's why we're getting all these stablecoin acts and stuff like that. But then I look at this on two sides. There's a morality side of what's happening and, what we'd like to see in the future. But then let's all realize everybody in the chat right now, yes, maybe there's some positive conviction about what this means of everybody can be banked but we all want to make some motherfucking money in this market too. We're able to do that because it's so early. And that's why I look to charts like this and see that when volatility has spiked, it has been incredible opportunities for Bitcoin. And then we look, oh my God, the price pulled back. But then you realize that over the past month, the weekly volume on long position liquidations has been decreased, aka it's getting back into a more healthy environment. Then you see long-term holders aggressively buying Bitcoin while short-term holders are capitulating. So long-term holders are saying, we're preparing for higher, and the short-term holders are saying, hey, here's some money to go buy your sixth boat because we don't have conviction. We're seeing the signs in the market. We're seeing 3.6 billion inflow to accumulation addresses. Over 48,000, the largest single day inflow since February 1st. When accumulation addresses move this aggressively, it's worth paying attention. What did I say earlier, everybody? Yep. On-chain data, which even right now, everybody in Bitcoin, I guarantee 94% of the people out there do not utilize, whether watching BitLab Academy, watching Randi Hipper, going and following proper accounts on X. You have on-chain data, not like stocks where you're waiting for a quarterly earnings report after people have already pulled your pants down and screwed you with the corn cob, and you realize it already happened when it's happening. Now, on-chain data says, oh, the big players are buying while everybody else is scared. Well, I can feel my feelings. I can still be scared, but I'm like, oh, well, I can at least try to find the data that they're looking at or realize I can follow Michael Jordan now. That's what we can do. What do you make of that?
I think on-chain data is a blessing. And that's why we have the blockchain, fam. The transparent aspect. Or we just wait for Nancy Pelosi to show us what she's buying. I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like, again, transparency is another gift of blockchain and crypto. If you're looking at these whale accounts, and I've pulled up a few things even on Litecoin, that people are moving millions, actual millions of Litecoin a day. And no one pays attention to that because, oh, the price doesn't move. But like, look at the liquidity here. Look at what's going on. And you could do the same for so many other crypto tokens or coins, layer ones, layer twos, whatever you're looking at. The on-chain data is a gift and you better take advantage of it, especially when it comes to these whales and what they're doing and how sometimes, like if they sell off, it's a signal of something, or if they accumulate more, it might be a different time where maybe you want to buy more as well, just depending on what it is. And then you can even look at people like World Liberty Financial, the Trump family's crypto project. What are they buying? Why are they buying that? And is that a signal that those are considered safe in the regulatory eye because they're accumulating it? And even the same with Grayscale, you could say the same.
Yeah, I mean, I say regularly on my show, people get so locked in on the price of a coin. I do not care what the price is. I care what the price is relative to the data and the other things we can look at. Because if you're only looking at price, you're buying and selling hope and fear, which means you're part of the bandwagon that's getting wrecked in this market, or you're setting yourself up to. When you look at data, then the price is scary, but you're like, holy moly, you see like right here, it might be time to start DCAing into altcoins when everybody says we're not going to get an altcoin season. Why? Because we've entered a buying zone based on on-chain metrics. And then beyond that, you see we're at a key trend line. Now, this is a little bit bombastic, suggesting a potential 175x. let's ignore that boombastic number, but let's notice the altcoin market cap bouncing on this basically trend signal line in a way, this trend line. And are we going to get that move? I don't know, but we're seeing those signs. Ondo getting listed on Binance, the fact that we have Larry Fink, MasterCard, Fidelity. I can't even remember the list is overwhelming of what's going on in the tokenization front, Chainlink, Swift, DTCC. The list is just like, how is anybody not bullish right now? I'm like, I'm like the crazy guy on the corner, or I'm looking at data that so few people are, which means I'm very far ahead. Have you seen the video of Jakey? You know Jakey in the ecosystem?
Oh, I think I've seen him. I'm pretty sure.
He has a video, and it's so funny. He posted it like 2 or 3 days ago, where he's out, and it makes you realize how crazy in a way we all are, because we're in our own niche. But he's walking around like downtown LA or something, and he's just walking up to people. And he's like, yeah, just out of cold conversation, no hello, nothing. Just, yeah. I just don't think you should buy ETH right now because XRP. But the point is, to them, you sound like just an absolute lunatic. The RSI and the MACD the people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that's what it is, because we're so deep in this little subnet that means we're ahead, but that means there's volatility here. So I don't want to take up your whole day, although I hope I can twist your arm and get your ass out to Vegas, man. Why would you not make it to Vegas? Come on.
I just don't think I can get there, and like that's upsetting to me. So I don't know. We could talk about it in DMs, but like, yeah, it breaks my heart. I really want to go to Vegas. Like it's hurting me on the inside, and I'm like trying different ways to get there and do some stuff down there. But I'm gonna see how it all works out. Like I said, we could talk about it, off record and stuff. But I really appreciate you, and I really do believe, like, kind of going back to your last point as well, that if you ask people like what the dollar is and what's going on with the dollar and how it gets printed, is there any method to the madness? Like, people really don't know that. So I think there's a whole problem with financial education in this country. Nobody knows what's going on, especially
and
they
you
work
know
their
what?
whole life.
That point, I still love, because it doesn't happen as often, but I've been in a little over 3 cycles now for a long time in this market. And before, I didn't really have a deep enough understanding to really communicate it well back in like 2016, 2017. But now it's like, what's funny is when people go, but Bitcoin's just printed out of nothing. It's just made on the internet. I'm like, this is opposite day, because you have not looked at the fact that the dollar is not backed by gold like you think it is. The fact that it is printed to oblivion. And in fact, now with the advent of Elon Musk and Doge in the Department of Government Efficiency, they've also found computers that also, not even talking about money printing, they are just, it's just drawing money from nothing. Let's go Doge, man. Let's go Elon.
Word, absolutely word. And if they put government spending on blockchain, if we go and audit a lot of the people in Congress, we're going to see some ugly things, Kelly. And I hope,
and it's going to be both sides of the aisle too. Just so people know, this
absolutely
isn't a one-sided thing. It's going to jack up probably a third of the House of Representatives in the Congress.
Fiat funds corruption. We had JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon in front of Liz Warren, and instead of asking him why he banked all these disgusting people, she goes and asks him, but what about Bitcoin? He's like, well, if I was the government, I'd shut it down. But how many people have you hurt because of who you've banked? And what have you done yourself? And then you go and look at, like, again, all these politicians, what have they done to earn millions of dollars in net worth when they only make $200K a year? You can ask that to former presidents as well. There's a dirty, dirty thing going on here. You look at TD Bank, fined like $4 billion for disregarding AML laws. But no one got arrested for that. Yet they arrested CZ Binance for things that we never even saw proof for. So, like, let's stop the madness. Let's get some real transparency and just have accountability. Period.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just showing right here how much have banks been fined since 2000? Over $360 billion. Now, why do they continue doing it? Because they make so much damn money. It's almost like the cost of doing business, because they're not going to jail. They're not going to jail. What do you see? They're trying to now. I do think it's wrong for some of the meme coin rugs and some of the stuff that has gone on in crypto, but it's so insignificant compared to what we're seeing in the
Not even
mega
close.
banking industry, and it's just okay because it's I just think it's ridiculous. But we are on the event horizon right now with Randi Hipper leading the charge, especially with the young people. I love seeing you on there with Charles Payne on Fox News and doing your show. And I just want to shout out real quick. So everybody go follow this beautiful, smart woman right here at Miss Teen Crypto, Randi Hipper. I'm loving the name change as well by just going by your name, by the way. I really
Thank you.
do
I had to
like
keep the
that.
handle. I had to keep the handle digital real estate. There's too many like scammers out there. So I was like, okay, I got to stick with the handle, but at least change the name and fix that.
Absolutely. And then your thing, is it still Miss Teen Crypto or is it
You could
Randi
type
Hipper?
both in and you could type both in and it'll come up because the handle again is still Miss Teen Crypto, but then like my name on it is Randi Hipper. Yeah, it's right there. We just hit 20,000 subs, so that's really awesome too. So thank you to everyone that watches and supports. I go live Monday through Friday at 9:45 a.m. Eastern across YouTube X for the Daily Zest. I also have the Randi Hipper Show where I've had some great people on as well. And then I do daily videos as well. Just catch me out there. I have all my Bitcoin 101 courses over on a playlist as well where I've gone to schools. And if you want to see any of my interviews from Newsmax, Fox Business, that's all on my YouTube channel. And I'm on at Missing Crypto on every single social media too. So you'll find me somewhere.
Well, I appreciate you. I always love bumping into you when we're out at different conferences. If I don't see
Me
you in
too.
Vegas, maybe we can work something to figure out if we can make something happen there because there's so much opportunity right now with all the different media stuff and all
I
kind of
know.
stuff. So let's try and make something happen. But if not, then I'll see you, I'm sure, at another one soon. I'll see you online. I always appreciate you shout me out. And I love watching you grow and everything you're doing. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you offer better information than some channels I watch with guys that have been in markets for 30 years. I'm like, these fucks have no idea. Go listen to Randi. So I appreciate you. And it's always entertaining as well. So thank you for coming on. I know it was a bit spontaneous today, but I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you always, Kelly. I think you're a really great guy, and we always support good people in this space, and you're definitely one of them. So, again, thank you so much for having me on. I hope everybody has a great weekend. So much love to the chat, too. I see you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Randi Hipper. Everybody make sure you follow. We're going to send you all off to the blockchain basement now. Adios, muchachos. Shout out to Tex-Mex Biomex. Had the super chat I just saw. Can I pet that chart? Can I pet that dog? Talking about that dog coin, baby. Hope you're all doing well. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you all. Adios.